The first time Claire heard him call her embarrassing, it wasn't in a fight. It wasn't even to her face. It came through her phone speaker at 11:47 p.m. on a Friday, flattened into a grainy little voice memo he'd never meant her to hear. Her bedroom was steeped in that tired, yellow lamplight that made everything look softer than it felt. She sat cross-legged on her unmade bed, laptop propped on a pillow, shoulders aching from a day hunched over campaigns and content calendars. Her takeout, once hot, sat congealing on the nightstand, the plastic lid fogged from long-cooled steam. The building hummed its usual mechanical lullaby, pipes ticking, the old heater exhaling. Beyond her single window, the city smeared into streaks of neon and headlights, the outside world reduced to motion and color. This was familiar terrain. Late nights, open tabs, performance dashboards. As a social media strategist for brands that thought going viral just meant posting more, she lived half inside her screens. Notifications were like background radiation, constant, ignorable, and less urgent. Her phone buzzed once, then again, then pinged with the specific tone of an incoming audio file. She glanced over more out of habit than interest. On the lock screen, Logan's name popped up. For a second, her stomach did that stupid automatic flutter it always did. Then her eyes focused on the line beneath his name. Voice message 043. No text, no miss you, no call me when you're free, no context. Just the file. Maybe he's sending something dumb, she thought. A joke from the bar. A half-whispered goodnight to play before sleep. That was the version of him she knew. The curated boyfriend. The guy who kissed her forehead in front of her friends. Who posted couple photos with captions like, "How did I get so lucky?" Who held her hand at parties and said, "We're a team," when she offered to help with anything that touched the word brand. She tapped the notification. The phone unlocked, not to a one-on-one thread, but to a group chat she didn't recognize. At the top in bold sat, Boys' Night. Underneath, a row of male names she half knew from Instagram handles and tag lists. The guys who spammed fire emojis under Logan's gym selfies. The ones who slapped him on. The back when they passed her at bars and gave her the bland, polite nod of people who fully expected not to see her around next year. Claire went absolutely still. Her own name was at the very top of the screen because it was her phone, but the chat clearly wasn't hers. Somewhere, at some point, one of his accounts had synced to her device. He must have logged into something on her phone, or never logged out. A digital door had been left cracked open, and now she was standing in it. The voice message was right there, a blue audio bubble stamped with his face and a timestamp from 5 minutes ago. She stared at it. Her thumb hovered over the play icon. The first time Claire heard him call her embarrassing, it wasn't in a fight. It wasn't even to her face. It came through her phone speaker at 11:47 p.m. on a Friday, flattened into a grainy little voice memo he'd never meant her to hear. Her bedroom was steeped in that tired, yellow lamplight that made everything look softer than it felt. She sat cross-legged on her unmade bed, laptop propped on a pillow, shoulders aching from a day hunched over campaigns and content calendars. Her takeout, once hot, sat congealing on the nightstand, the plastic lid fogged from long-cooled steam. The building hummed its usual mechanical lullaby, pipes ticking, the old heater exhaling. Beyond her single window, the city smeared into streaks of neon and headlights, the outside world reduced to motion and color. This was familiar terrain. Late nights, open tabs, performance dashboards. As a social media strategist for brands that thought going viral just meant posting more, she lived half inside her screens. Notifications were like background radiation, constant, ignorable, and less urgent. Her phone buzzed once, then again, then pinged with the specific tone of an incoming audio file. She glanced over more out of habit than interest. On the lock screen, Logan's name popped up. For a second, her stomach did that stupid automatic flutter it always did. Then her eyes focused on the line beneath his name. Voice message 043. No text, no miss you, no call me when you're free, no context. Just the file. Maybe he's sending something dumb, she thought. A joke from the bar. A half-whispered goodnight to play before sleep. That was the version of him she knew. The curated boyfriend. The guy who kissed her forehead in front of her friends. Who posted couple photos with captions like, "How did I get so lucky?" Who held her hand at parties and said, "We're a team," when she offered to help with anything that touched the word brand. She tapped the notification. The phone unlocked, not to a one-on-one thread, but to a group chat she didn't recognize. At the top in bold sat, Boys' night. Underneath, a row of male names she half knew from Instagram handles and tag lists. The guys who spammed fire emojis under Logan's gym selfies. The ones who slapped him on. The back when they passed her at bars and gave her the bland, polite nod of people who fully expected not to see her around next year. Claire went absolutely still. Her own name was at the very top of the screen because it was her phone, but the chat clearly wasn't hers. Somewhere, at some point, one of his accounts had synced to her device. He must have logged into something on her phone, or never logged out. A digital door had been left cracked open, and now she was standing in it. The voice message was right there, a blue audio bubble stamped with his face and a timestamp from 5 minutes ago. She stared at it. Her thumb hovered over the play icon. She knew exactly where the imaginary line was supposed to be. Privacy, trust, respect. You didn't go looking through your partner's things. You didn't tap the button that wasn't meant for you. Her heart thudded against that rule. Then curiosity, sharpened by a dull suspicion she'd been shoving aside for weeks, reached out and pressed play. Logan's voice flooded the room, thinner and harsher than in person, that weird brutality of recorded sound. Bro, I swear, I don't know, man, he said, followed by a laugh Claire had never heard before. Not his soft, oh you silly laugh. Not the fond exhale when she misquoted his favorite movie. This was lower, sharper, performed for someone else. She's kinda embarrassing to be seen with sometimes. Her brain stalled on the words like a scratched disc. For a second she tried to slot them somewhere safe. Maybe he meant a co-worker, some stranger on the street, a story from the gym. He kept talking. Each new sentence erased another possible escape route. Nah, dude, like she's sweet. Yeah, he drawled. And even through compression, she could hear the mocking smile wrapped around. Sweet. But she's, the way she dresses, the stuff she posts, all those try-hard girl boss quotes and today's content strategy bullshit. Makes me look like I'm dating a LinkedIn post. The sound of laughter bled in from the other end. His friends, hazy and distorted but unmistakably entertained. Bro, someone said, muffled. And she made me film 10 takes of that stupid coffee reel today, Logan continued. In public. People walking by. I wanted to die. I'm like, can you not make me look like some whipped Instagram husband? The voice on the other end said something she couldn't hear. Logan barked a real laugh, bright and easy. Nah, it's on her account, he said. She eats that engagement shit up. Thinks she's changing the world or whatever. I don't know. A pause. It's kinda pathetic. The audio cut out. The room didn't. Claire stared at the screen long after the little waveform flattened. Thumb trembling lightly against the glass. Her body felt dislocated, too present and totally numb all at once. The lamplight, the messy bed, the faint humming heat, they all narrowed, down to the rectangle in her hand and the ghost of his voice echoing inside her skull. She hit play again. She didn't know why. Maybe she hoped the repetition would reveal some context she'd missed, some hint it was all an elaborate, badly timed joke. But each re-listen only etched the lines deeper. Embarrassing to be seen with sometimes. Makes me look like I'm dating a LinkedIn post. Kinda pathetic. Her job, the business she'd built, when half the people around her still thought social. Media meant posting brunch, the late-night editing, the pitch decks, the client calls where she coached. Terrified CEOs through the concept of authenticity, the reels she'd storyboarded and shot, the ones Logan had leaned into frame for, smoothing her hair and grinning like he loved being part of it. He was mocking all of it, mocking her. The ache behind her eyes sharpened. She swallowed hard, jaw clenched so tight her teeth hurt. She swiped up, scrolling through the rest of the chat. Messages from earlier that evening cascaded past. Yo, how's influencer life treating yo? Still doing those cringe couple vids? Logan had replied with a photo. Claire recognized instantly. Him sprawled on her couch, her legs over his lap, her hand on his chest. She'd taken it that afternoon laughing, because he'd tickled her right after. He had said, post this, caption it lazy Sundays with you, then kissed the crown of her head. Here his caption was different, hostage situation. More audio clips followed. Little windows into a life she wasn't invited to witness. He complained about how loudly she laughed at restaurants, mimicked her when she said, let's actually talk about this instead of just letting things slide. Called meeting her family like being paraded around as a LinkedIn trophy, husband, each line blurred, with background laughs, chords in some casual cruel jam session. By the time she stopped, her fingertips were icy against the warm device. A hot tear broke free, hitting the back of her hand. Reflexively, she wiped it away, anger sparking at her own body for reacting like that, like she was proving him right about being too much. She set the phone carefully on the duvet, as if it were something volatile. Her gaze drifted to the collage on her wall. Above the desk, prints of photos she'd loved enough to make physical. There they were, beach day, his arms around her waist, her eyes squinting in the sun, birthday dinner, candlelight flickering between them as he pretended to be shy. About the singing waiter, a blurry train selfie, both of them leaning in, faces pressed together, their smiles unguarded. She walked up until the glossy corners brushed her skin. From this close, she could see the tiny imperfections in the prints, the grain in the shadows. She traced Logan's half-smile in one frame with her eyes, trying to remember what he'd said to her moments before it was taken. Had he texted someone after, making a joke about her ordering the dessert she'd been excited about all week? Had he called the whole evening content in some other chat? The room shrank around her. Every object seemed touched by him. The hoodie on her chair, his toothbrush leaning against hers in the bathroom cup, the stupid novelty mug she'd bought him, one algorithm boyfriend, sitting by the sink. She turned back to the bed, picked up the phone again, and this time, when she reopened the voice memo, she did something different. Her thumb flicked down from the top right corner. The iPhone's red recording indicator appeared. Screen recording on. The voice memo played through in full. His voice. His words. The group chat name at the top. The hostage situation comment just above. She watched it all while the little red timer climbed silently. When it finished, she stopped the recording, saved the file, and immediately opened it to confirm the chat, the audio, the proof, all neatly captured in a video that no one could retroactively erase. Her breathing steadied just a fraction. Then she kept going. Every memo, every incriminating snippet, she played, recorded, clipped. Her hands moved with the detached precision she used when batch editing, footage for clients, eyes sharp, motions economical. Hurt churned just under the surface, but something colder had moved in above it. Purpose. By the time she was done, the phone was warm in her palm. Outside, the late-night noise of the city had thinned to a low rumble. She leaned her head back against the headboard and stared at the cracked paint on her ceiling. The raw ache in her chest hadn't faded. It had just condensed. He called her embarrassing in the one place he thought she'd never see. He'd mocked the very thing she understood better than almost anyone. And he'd done it while forgetting one simple fatal fact. Claire knew exactly what happened when the wrong sound hit the right part of the internet. He thought it was just another voice note to the boys. He was about to find out what it felt like when the woman you underestimated owned the algorithm. Sleep meant surrender, letting go of the tight, bright thread of focus running through her. She wasn't interested in soft edges or mercy. By 2 a.m., she'd migrated to the floor, back against the side of her bed, laptop open on the rug. Her phone lay beside the trackpad, face up. A small constellation of new screen recordings lined up in her gallery. The only light in the room came from the laptop, bleaching her face ghost pale and throwing everything else into blue-gray shadow. She slid her headphones on and opened her editing software. The interface greeted her like muscle memory, bins, timeline, effects. She'd spent hundreds of hours here, cutting promos and campaigns that made clients look clever, likable, human. Tonight, the brief was different. She dragged in the first recording. Timeline empty. Audio track Logan's voice. Bro, I swear, I don't know, man. She's kinda embarrassing to be seen with sometimes. She listened, not as girlfriend this time, but as editor. Neutral, clinical. She marked in right before the sentence started. Marked out right after sometimes. Trim, clean. She replayed it, chopping off the ums and half-breaths until all that remained was a neat, brutal loop. You're the problem, a small, savage voice inside her said, not to herself but to him. Embalmed in pixels, she left that audio on the timeline and opened her Photos app. Her life with Logan blinked into view. Rows of memories flattened into thumbnails. Road trips and birthday dinners and blurry selfies in 2 bright bathrooms. Videos of him pushing her toward the camera, mouthing, "Tell them," Babe when she got excited talking about a new project. Clips of his exaggerated faces when she set up the tripod in public. 2 weeks ago, the corner cafe, soft light and dark wood. In the video, she'd propped her phone against a sugar jar and framed them both in shot. Hair a little messy. Him in that gray hoodie she always stole. Past Claire beamed at the lens. Okay, one more time, she said off camera. Ready? Always, he said, grinning right into the phone. He looked so easy there, so present, like he liked being part of her world. She dragged that clip into the editor and placed it under the trimmed voice memo, muting its original audio. On screen, Logan smiled, leaned in, eyes crinkling. Over it, the Logan from the group chat spoke. Bro, I swear she's... I don't know, man. She's kinda embarrassing to be seen with sometimes. The whiplash of it sucked the air out of her lungs, even though she'd orchestrated the collision. Good, she thought. If it hit her this hard, it would hit strangers too. She started to build. Clip after clip slid onto the timeline. Logan kissing her temple on a park bench, sunlight haloing them. Logan wrapping her in a hug at a party while her friends cheered. Logan taking a selfie in her apartment, her laughter spilling in from outside the frame. Over each, she layered pieces of his memos. She eats that engagement shit up. Thinks she's changing the world. Hostage situation. Pathetic. She made deliberate choices. When his chat text showed hostage situation beneath the couch selfie, the video underneath was him gently tucking a blanket around her legs. When his voice said, pathetic, she synced it with an old story clip of her explaining, eyes shining, that helping small businesses tell their stories made her feel like she was doing something that mattered. She zoomed slowly into his face in a few shots, not frontal, never fully clear, just enough side profile and jawline to be undeniably him to people who knew him. To everyone else, he was an archetype, a placeholder for every man who'd ever smiled one way in public and spoken another way in private. Her phone buzzed against the rug. A text from Logan lit up the top of the screen. Ooh, awake? Sorry, I bailed. Long day. Call you tomorrow. She let the notification fade. It felt almost comically out of place now, like a line from a script she'd aged out of overnight. She turned back to the editor. She wasn't interested in his version of the narrative anymore. Oh, this is about to be everywhere. The notifications rolled in, a quiet cascade. Your sound has been used in 1 video. Your sound has been used in 4 videos. Your sound has been used in 11 videos. Claire tapped over to the audio page. The platform had already auto-generated a sound from her clip. Original sound, embarrassing girl. Below it, thumbnails of other videos began to appear. In one, a woman in scrubs sat in a hospital break room, mouthing along to Logan's line, she's kinda embarrassing to be seen with sometimes. While the screen text read, when you work doubles so he could find himself, and he told his boys you were just a nurse. In another, a girl in a graduation cap held up her diploma, then cut to a screenshot of texts where her ex had written, IDK man she's good for now but not like forever wife material. Have you find the group chat? My ex said practice wife behind my back. This sound unlocked rage I forgot I had. Men like this walk among us and I'm so tired. On her anonymous profile, the follower count ticked upward. 412, 1203, 39 and 87. A DM from her coworker lit up her personal phone on the other side of the bed. Hunk, have you seen this? Link. You would love this takedown, LMAO. Claire let out a short, soundless laugh that was mostly air. You would love this. They had no idea. By 7 a.m., the clip sat in the platform's trending tab, thumbnail framed by a little orange hot banner. The caption glared under it like a dare. He called me embarrassing in private. So I made him famous. Views 123,000. Likes 34,000. Comments climbing so fast the app struggled to load them all at once. Claire watched the comment section swell and swirl. The way my heart dropped at hostage situation. She's kinda embarrassing, translation. She has ambition, and I feel small. This sound is my Roman Empire. Whoever posted this, I hope you're eating and hydrated and surrounded by PPL, who hype you like you deserve. But the ones that grabbed her gut were smaller, quieter. Found my BF's Discord. Same energy. Left that night. My ex told his friends I was his charity case BC I didn't finish college. Took me years to believe I wasn't trash. Thanks for posting this. I thought I was crazy for still being hurt years later. The algorithm had done exactly what she knew it would. Sniffed out the emotional engagement and started shotgunning the clip into more feeds, more For You pages. More late-night doom-scrolling sessions. By mid-morning, the sound had broken 10,000 uses. Edits, jokes, lip-syncs, stitched story times. People turned it into skits, duets, reaction videos. Some used the audio as a meme soundtrack. Cats, staring judgmentally into the camera as Logan's line played. Others used it as a background hum under their own confessionals. In the churn, his actual identity remained technically unspoken. She hadn't posted his handle, hadn't shown his full face. But in the cracks, "I swear that's Logan from Jim. Is this the guy dating Claire from Redacted Brand? I recognize the couch. OMG, wait, I used to work with him. This is insane." Her personal notifications started to light up too. Friends sharing the trending audio in their stories, slapping text over it. If my man talked about me like this, I'd turn into a supervillain. Girls who work in social are one bad group. Chat away from ending men's careers, and honestly, fair. Claire sat cross-legged on the bed, anonymous account open on her laptop, personal phone face down at her side. She hadn't shown his name. She hadn't outed him to her own circle. She didn't need to. The internet had picked up his voice like a weapon and was now, collectively deciding what to aim it at. Somewhere in the mix between the fury and dark humor, a new video tag started surfacing under her audio. Heard in the group chat. People used it to spill tiny, devastating snapshots. "She's good for my ego. My ex about me when I found their Discord logs. My brother overheard my BF call me a starter girlfriend. I wish he never told me. I'm also glad he did." Claire watched one clip twice. It was simple, just a shot of a woman's hands twisting a scrunchie on and off her wrist, while the audio played low in the background. On-screen text. "He said, 'You're not my forever girl, but you'll do for now,' in a VC. My friend was in the call. She recorded it. I left with nothing but my cat in my car. Best decision I ever made." The view count on Claire's original upload passed 500,000 before lunchtime. A tiny part of her brain, the one wired for metrics and deliverables, floated up long enough to note, distantly, that this was the fastest organic traction she'd ever seen on anything she'd posted. That if this were a client campaign, she'd be fielding congratulatory emails and people asking, "How did you do it?" She took a breath. Let it out. The satisfaction that came with that thought was guilty and clean at once. He'd tried to make her smaller in the one space she ruled. She'd simply reminded him exactly where he'd chosen to attack her, and the internet, as always, had done the rest. By the time Logan woke up on Sunday, he was already famous. Not in the way he'd imagined. Brand tags, collaborative giveaways, followers flooding his DMs asking what cologne he wore. Not the way he'd rehearsed in his head when he'd filmed his first "What I Eat in a Day" or "Day in the Life" vlog for his tiny audience. Not influencer famous, infamous. The light that crept in through his half-closed blinds was the flat, cold kind that made hangovers worse. He wasn't hungover. Exactly. Just gummy-eyed and disoriented from 6 hours of bad sleep. His phone buzzed against his nightstand, rattling the loose change and crumpled receipts he'd tossed there. 11:42 a.m. The screen, when he squinted at it, was chaos. Notification banners jammed into each other, mentions, tags, missed calls, group chat pings. You'll wake up. Answer your phone. "Bro, you seeing this?" He thumbed lazily through them, annoyance beating out curiosity at first. The guys had a bad habit of blowing up the chat over nothing. Some meme, some fantasy football disaster, some half-baked scheme. His phone vibrated again, longer this time. "Incoming call, Derek." He groaned, rolled onto his back, and answered. "What?" he croaked. "Check your socials," Derek said. No hello, no preamble. His voice had that too awake. Too wired edge Logan associated with pre-workout or genuine panic. "Like right now?" Logan dragged a hand down his face. "Why? You finally posted that thirst trap? You go viral for flexing in the Planet Fitness bathroom?" Derek let out a choke noise that wasn't quite a laugh. "It's not me, man. Just search embarrassing in private on vids. Or hostage situation, I don't know. It's everywhere." "What are you talking about?" "You'll see," Derek said and hung up. The abrupt dial tone left a ringing pressure in Logan's ear. He stared at the ceiling for a second, trying to shake off the last traces of sleep. Then he opened the app. The home feed loaded. No sign of anything unusual at first, just the usual slurry of dances, half-funny skits, and people making recipes he'd never try. Then the second video autoplayed. He saw himself. At first, the recognition didn't land. It was just a jawline, the curve of a cheekbone, His own hand, that stupid tattoo on his wrist, pressed lightly to a woman's shoulder, but his body knew it before his brain did. His stomach tightened, breath catching. The frame was pulled from one of Claire's videos, him half smiling on her couch. Over it, in white text, sat, "He called me embarrassing in private, so I made him famous." The bottom corner read, "I embarrassing girl." His thumb fumbled, almost closing the app. He forced himself to tap the video instead, unmuting the sound. For a few seconds it looked like any soft couple montage. Low lo-fi music, Claire laughing as he spun her around in the park. Their hands laced across a table at some dim restaurant. Her face scrunched in a car selfie, his chin on her shoulder. Then the music cut. His own voice poured out of his phone, stripped of context, nakedly clear. "Bro, I swear, I don't know, man. She's kinda embarrassing to be seen with sometimes." On screen, the visual cut away from his smiling face to a full-screen shot of a group chat. Top bar, boys' night. Names he knew by heart. His own icon, his own name. The message bubbles were zoomed so big there was no mistaking them. Hostage situation. Working on it. Logan's blood ran cold. He'd seen that in the chat, sure. He'd forgotten about it the way you forget about half the shit you send in group. Convos. Words tossed into the void and trampled by the next joke. He'd never seen it like this, framed like evidence. The video jumped back to Claire. Old footage of her, lit by her ring light talking into the camera. "I get to help people tell their stories," she said, voice full of that earnestness he'd rolled his eyes at in private. "I get to help them show the world who they really are and why that matters and—" His recorded voice sliced over hers. "Thinks she's like changing the world or whatever. I don't know. It's kinda pathetic." The comments scrolled up so fast they blurred. My chest hurts watching this. The nonchalance in his voice went jail. "Whoever posted this I hope are booked and busy for the rest of her life. Drop his name, I'm trying to see something." He backed out of the video, fingers slick. The trending tab was worse. At the top, the same clip. Same caption. Under it, the sound page, his voice, clipped into a neat little 30-second track titled, "Original Sound Embarrassing Girl. Usage count 18.4K. Refreshing 19.0K. Refreshing again 20.3K. He scrolled. A woman in a blazer. Office in the background. Mimed his line. "She's kinda embarrassing to be seen with sometimes." As overlay text read, "When you closed a 200K deal for your startup and your BF told his friends, you were a bit intense." A guy, clearly playing a character, pretended to be the homie in the group chat listening to a friend say the line, then slowly turning the phone toward the wall and hitting record. A mother at a playground filmed her feet swinging on the bench. Text on screen. "My ex called me good enough for now in front of his friends." He didn't know his mic was still on. "Today, my daughter and I are moving into an apartment I paid for myself. Cheers." Each time his voice played, it was a little more surreal. "Bro, I swear I don't know, man. She's kinda embarrassing to be seen with sometimes." Edit after edit. Joke after joke. Story after story. His words had become a sound people were building their own narratives around. His stomach lurched. He flicked to his notifications. Mentions and tags clogged the screen. Someone, "Hey Logan, this so?" Another, "If my man ever..." Someone else, the way he said hostage situation. Sir, it's giving incel light. Under his most recent thirst trap, the comments had taken a hard left turn. Embarrassing to be seen with hoe. Or shaky deadlift form? Is this the hostage situation protagonist? Blink twice if our PR manager is making you read these. He breathed too fast for a few seconds, chest tight. Then numbness sliding in, he flipped to the boys' group chat. Derek. Who saw it? Nate. "Bro, her voice is a trending sound. I'm gonna throw up." Cal. "My girl just sent me that video like, this reminds me of her friends. And I had to sit there." Derek again. She recognized the chat layout. Logan's fingers hovered over the keyboard then. "Logan, how the fuck did this get out?" Derek. "ID came in, but this is bad. PPL from work are posting it." Nate. "My sister DM'd it to me with, remind you of anyone, and I had to fake outrage for you." Cal. "I gotta say it's fake. AI, deepfake. Edited. Something." For a split second, relief flashed hot and tempting. Yeah, deepfake. People believe that shit. He could lean into tech paranoia. Claim someone had stitched the audio from some other convo onto stolen footage. Talk about harassment. Cancel culture. Misogyny in reverse. Men's mental health. He pictured the chat logs in his phone, the voice memos he'd actually sent, the messages he knew he'd typed, the exact inflections in the video. It was him, no glitch, no misunderstanding. His email pinged. He switched apps. Subject partnership pause. Hi, Logan. In light of recent content circulating that appears to include you, we'll be temporarily pausing our collaboration while we reassess. We'll be in touch. Best regards. Brand manager name. Another email slid in beneath it. Different brand. Same sentiment. His heart rate spiked. Sweat prickled under his t-shirt. He was still scrolling when her name flashed at the top of the screen. Claire, incoming call. The world tunneled down to that one word. For a stretch of beats, he couldn't move. Answering felt like stepping off a high ledge. Not answering felt worse. He swiped to accept. Hey, he said, voice coming out thin. On the other end, quiet. Not the soft, warm quiet he was used to with her. The kind made of familiarity and shared space. This one was taut, composed. Have you seen it? Claire asked. No tremor, no breathy misstep. Just a simple, contained question. He forced a laugh that sounded wrong. Whatever that is, whoever made it, it's... Don't, she said. Not loud, just final. Don't call me and start by lying. You've had more than enough time to talk. He swallowed. His apologies, hastily assembled as he'd watched the video, jostled to get out. It was a joke. It was taken out of context. The guys were pushing me, but they all tasted like cardboard now. I shouldn't have. You did, she cut in. You said exactly what you believed, to the people whose opinions matter most to you. You just got unlucky. Your text screwed up. For once, the algorithm worked in someone else's favor. His jaw clenched. I was venting, he said, hating how cheap it sounded even as he said it. People say dumb shit. You know how it is. It's not that deep, Claire. You know I care about you. I post you, You post the version of me that looks good on your grid, she said. Now the edge in her voice showed thin and sharp. You show up where it benefits you to look like the supportive boyfriend. And then you turn around and call me a hostage situation. In the same breath, you're kissing my forehead for a story. He winced. Hearing her say the actual words out loud made them sound worse than they had. Even in the video. I didn't mean it like... You meant it like you meant it, she said. That's the thing about those chats. No audience, right? No brand deals on the line. That's you without strategy. That's the real you. He rubbed his temple. The kernel of anger at being exposed flared again, louder than the shame for a heartbeat. You're ruining my life over a couple of private messages. There it was. The wrong sentence. The one his brain registered as it tumbled out, but too late to snatch back. She laughed once, soft and humorless. I'm ruining your life? He shut his eyes. That's not what I didn't put your name on it, she said. I didn't tag you. I cropped your face, blurred the icons. I gave you more privacy than you ever gave me. A small pause. People still found you in under 24 hours. That should tell you less about me and more about the kind of man you are. He fought the urge to apologize again, to pile words into the silence. She beat him to it. You know what's wild? She went on. In every video I ever edited of you, I brightened you, sharpened you, found the shots where you looked best. I made you look like the guy you wanted to be. I did my job. Her inhale sounded more like a bracing than a breath. This time I didn't add filters, I just held you up as you are when you think no one's watching. The world decided what to do with that. Claire, he said, and his voice frayed properly now. Panic, raw and without spin. Please take it down. I'll do whatever. I'll apologize. I'll donate to some charity. I'll make a whole series about how men need to grow up. Brands eat that redemption arc up. This isn't a brand rehab, she said. This isn't about your follower count. He flinched like she'd slapped him, even though her tone hadn't risen. You're not sorry you said it, she added quietly. You're sorry you got heard? He closed his eyes, throat thick. Do you honestly think, she continued, almost musing now, that a pinned apology, video is going to make me forget I heard you call my work pathetic, to a bunch of guys who couldn't define a conversion. Funnel if you spotted them half the letters. He almost laughed. Because of course she'd make a joke about marketing terms in the middle of this. He didn't, it stuck in his chest. The internet will move on, she said. It always does. Next week it'll be some politician or some celebrity cheating. and you'll be a sound people use under memes. But you know what won't move on for you? He said nothing. You will never again walk into a room, online or offline, without wondering if the person across from you has heard your voice saying those things. If they've already decided who you are. The thought hit him like a punch, not because he cared that much what strangers thought, he told himself, but because she was right. He'd felt it already in the way his DMs had shifted overnight. You made me a joke, he said, the word small. No, she replied. You made me one first. I just gave your audience a chance to rate your material. Silence stretched. He could hear faint city noise through her line. A car, someone yelling in the distance, the rustle of her moving. I loved you, you know, she said suddenly. It hit him harder than everything before, because it sounded like an afterthought that had accidentally slipped out. He heard the wince in her own voice when she realized she'd said it. I loved you enough to build you up, she went on, lower now. To hand you my platform to tell my followers look at him, isn't? He great, and believe it while I typed it. A shaky exhale. You took that and turned me into a bit in your boys' chat. He had nothing. Her next words were calm again, smooth and horribly final. You called me embarrassing in private, she said. Now you get to be embarrassed in public. That's not vengeance, Logan, that's symmetry. The line clicked off. He stared at his reflection in the now dark screen, breath shallow. His phone buzzed almost immediately as if to fill the void. A text from his younger sister. Saw the vid. You need to apologize to her. Not online, to her. A DM from a mutual of Claire's. Damn, man. I thought he were one of the good ones. Another email from a brand more blunt than the others. In light of recent events, we're terminating our agreement effective immediately. He let the phone fall onto the bed and stood, feet hitting the cold floor. The mirror across from his closet caught him in its full, unforgiving frame. He'd always liked mirrors. Knew his angles. He'd learned how to half squint so his jaw looked sharper, how to tilt his chin to catch the best light for his bone structure. Claire had taught him all the little tricks. Hold the phone higher. It's more flattering. Turn a bit. The camera loves this side of your face. Now stripped of filters, sleep ruffled, stomach knotted, he looked smaller, meaner. He thought of Claire somewhere across the city. Expression set as she watched the view count climb on an anonymous account. Thought of the girls, women, and everyone else stitching their own stories to his sentence. Thought of the brand emails lining up like a firing squad. He grabbed his phone again, thumb hovering over Claire's name in his contacts. He typed, I'm sorry 3 times. Deleted it 3 times. Anything he sent now would read like PR. Somewhere on a screen he couldn't see, a teenage girl pointed her camera at herself. Claire saw the tag first on her anonymous dashboard. The girl's room was messy, clothes piled on a chair, string lights drooping over the bed. Her eyes were red-rimmed, but her chin was lifted. Whoever you are, she said, looking straight into the lens. Addressing embarrassing girl. Thank you. I showed your video to my mom. Then I showed her the screenshots from my ex's Discord. She believed me this time. She told me to block him. She told me I deserve better. She huffed out a breath that was almost a laugh. So yeah, you did that. Just thought you should know. The clip had a few thousand likes, dozens of comments, little hearts and I'm proud of yous and sames. Claire watched it twice. The heaviness in her chest shifted, a painful warm weight instead of pure hurt. Her anonymous inbox was full now. Half of it was rage on her behalf. Half was quiet disclosures. A sliver was brands tiptoeing in. We'd love to talk about partnering on a campaign about digital safety. If you're open to it, we think your perspective as a strategist and creator could be powerful. She didn't answer right away. This wasn't a brand opportunity. Not yet, maybe not ever. It was something more elemental. She toggled back to her original video. 2.3 million views. Sound uses 48.7K and climbing. Caption unchanged. He called me embarrassing in private. So I made him famous. Her own hurt hadn't neatly resolved. It showed up when she rinsed his mug in the sink, when she brushed her teeth and saw his toothbrush in the cup, when she passed the hoodie on the chair and smelled his cologne. But layered over it now was something solid. He had tried to fracture her in the one sphere where she was strongest. She'd simply redirected that impact back at him. On the other side of the city, Logan sat on his unmade bed, phone dark in his hand, imagining every future interaction filtered through that sound. Dates, job interviews, casual drinks with acquaintances, each one colored by the possibility that the other Person had already heard his worst, sentences on loop, under someone else's heartbreak or punchline. He had always wanted to go viral. He just hadn't understood until now what it meant when you didn't control the edit.